What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. Today, once again, we're doing something a little bit interesting, a little bit different today, because we're still kind of quarantined at home, so I can't really go out and do anything crazy. But I figured this would be a good opportunity to kind of talk to you guys about what's it like daily driving a lifted Jeep, just a lifted Jeep in general. Now, when I say that, right now I currently have my 2005 lifted Jeep Grand Cherokee WK, but I do have experience actually owning a lifted Jeep Wrangler, so I figured this is a good time for me to kind of tell you guys, if you're interested and you want to know what's it like daily driving one of these type of vehicles, this is a good video for you guys to watch. And yes, I do know I still have the Challenger, which is technically my daily, but during the winter months I mostly drove the Jeep, and before I had the Challenger I drove the Jeep Wrangler. That was my daily, so I think I have somewhat of a good understanding of what's it like to drive it every single day. But if you guys are new here, my name is Jeffrey. I do videos on my 2017 Dodge Challenger RT alongside the Jeep Grand Cherokee, which is the project vehicle on the channel. And yeah, let's jump right into things without further ado. Let's jump into it. Alright guys, so now with my personal experience of owning the Grand Cherokee and owning the Jeep Wrangler for the last couple of years and my daily driving aspects of it, which I've done a ton of videos before. If you want to check out, I have a whole playlist down in my on my channel. All my Jeep Wrangler videos, they're all listed out. I did videos talking about literally every single thing that you could think about. But like the daily driving aspects of it, like the one thing I can say that's similar with both of them, especially because they're both lifted. Now this one has a 2.5-inch lift kit, and this is running, I think they're like 32-inch tires. And on my Wrangler, I just had 32.5-inch tires with no lift, but it did, rise up the actual height of the vehicle. With driving them both, the one thing I have noticed is that obviously they got slower. When I bought this vehicle, the Grand Cherokee, I bought it lifted, so I didn't really know like what the speed or what it was beforehand. But I knew buying this after owning the Wrangler, I knew it wasn't going to be fast. This has a 3.7 liter V6, and my old Wrangler had the old 3.8 liter V6, which they upgraded to the Pentastar V6 inside 2012, I believe it was. Yeah, so owning both the vehicles, you have to realize like they're not going to be fast, especially when they're lifted up with bigger tires. That's just a lot of weight, and these engines, they're okay, but they're not big powerhouse, engines. So it's just not going to be fast. And with that, they suck a lot of gas. Both of them will. Now the thing is though, since both vehicles have the bigger tires and everything like that, it obviously like my gas mileage decreased like crazy. So the one thing I didn't notice, like in this car, I was filling up, maybe like twice a week. And granted though, my commute wasn't super far with this, so like in this, it wasn't like killing me like that bad. But my gas mileage really was like 15 to 16 miles per gallon. And inside the Wrangler, it was even worse. Like the best I got was like 14 miles per gallon. That was just because that engine was just that engine was just like a hog, and literally a Wrangler is just like a box going through air. So you have to understand that. But I will say the really nice feature about both vehicles is that since they're both lifted, they were both like driving inside any type of like lifted or taller vehicle, it really does make you feel like you have a really good commanding view of the road, which is a great feature, which is the reason why SUVs are selling like hotcakes right now. Everyone wants them. Everyone wants to feel like high up, and like you feel like you can carry more stuff, and like it just seems much more practical in like that sense. So a lot of people do want to have like SUVs and stuff like that. But I will say there's something cool about having a lifted Jeep, just because this body wasn't like designed from the factory to be this tall up or this high up. So it is kind of cool. It is like a really different driving dynamic. Like it feels so nice to drive. It's hard to explain. Yes, well, I will go into the ride like quality in a second, but like sometimes I just want to drive this over driving my Challenger, just because I want a different driving dynamics. And it's hard to explain unless you're inside like a lifted truck or something like that. It really is hard to explain. You do kind of feel like, oh, you're like so much higher. You have like that kind of like superior commanding view of everything, and it really is a nice feeling to have. It does have its drawbacks, but just like based upon that by itself, like without anything else, like not even talking about off-road and just talking about like on-road use, having a lifted vehicle, that is like the really nice thing about it. But the bad thing is though, you're driving now, the driving conditions or the ride quality, just depending on the lift that you have. Inside my Wrangler, surprisingly enough, that actually improved the ride quality. It feels like the tires that I had on there, it dampened some of the bumps and stuff like that. And oddly enough, it seemed like it improved my handling, just because those tires were much more wider than the stock tires. Like the stock tires on like a Wrangler, mine was a 2010. I don't even know, I forgot the exact size offhand, but they weren't very wide at all. With the bigger and like wider tires, it actually seemed like it helped me performance-wise. Not in like speed or anything like that, but just like on the road handling, like on the highway, it seemed like it just handled a lot better. Especially because that wasn't lifted at all. It didn't have a lift kit or anything in it. No, added the tires and just bolt on. It had tires and spacers, and that seemed to have like really like improved the ride quality. Now in this vehicle, I don't really know what it felt like stock, but right now, this ride quality isn't the greatest. It really isn't. I think this lift kit that's on here is a very cheap lift kit, and I just haven't bothered to change it, just because I spent, if you guys don't know, I spent a lot of money on the Jeep doing the, like, I got the transmission rebuilt, and I did a lot of other stuff, like maintenance stuff to this vehicle. So I haven't really got a chance to like do anything else crazy to this vehicle. I would like to change out the lift kit and get upper control arms and other small little things here and there. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet, just because I've been fixing up so much. But the ride quality in this right now, it hasn't been the greatest. I think the lift kit is pretty bad on here, but like it's not that it's like the most uncomfortable thing in the world. It's just, it is a tad bit rough. Now, the good thing is though, Grand Cherokees, they were much more of the luxurious Jeeps. Like they were, more the top of the line, like, when this came out brand new, this is 2005. When this came out brand new, this was like, this actually year was the new year that they came out with this model, or this body style. It was like, the newest, top of the line. So like, that is nice. So I do have the nice, comfort creature comforts and stuff like that. And the ride is quote unquote a little bit better than I know probably like some of the older like ZJs and stuff like that. But up to modern standards, it's not exactly like the best ride. That being said, I'm not 100% sure if it's the lift or not, but I know like stock, it would be better than this. So it's kind of strange that with the Wrangler, just in my personal experience, just adding the tires, it helped the ride. And in this, it feels like this lift with these tire combo, it made everything a lot stiffer. So it's probably just the lift kit. I know for a fact, if you get like a nice lift kit, it will improve the ride quality. So you have to understand like there's trade-offs for what you're getting. And then the other thing though, now most people, when you buy these vehicles, you buy them typically, well, most people, you should buy them because they're meant to be taken off-road. Like, these are very capable vehicles. They can be taken off-road, taken off the public streets and onto the off-road, into the dirt and stuff like that. And I know for myself, I haven't done it as much as I wanted to, just because of everything that's going on right now. But that's what these vehicles were meant to really do. With that in mind, and my limited time of just doing the small like trails and stuff like that, it's been great. Now this vehicle, my Jeep now, this one is it has like an all-wheel drive system in it. It's not like the four-wheel drive. You can swap it to like an actual four-wheel drive. Oh yeah, so this is the transmission. Like usually, like I know that there is like inside the other Jeep Grand Cherokees, you can swap it. Literally, there's like a four-wheel drive switch to turn it into four-wheel drive. My one has, I forgot the system, what it's called. I'll probably have it linked down in the comment section, or someone else can let me know in the comment section below. But this has like the system where it is like an all-time like all-wheel drive system that's running in this thing. So with that in mind, like the all-wheel drive system in here, it works great. Like in snow, it seems to work great. That's what I pretty much bought this car for, to use it for snow. I'm in Buffalo, New York, so we get a lot of snow here, especially in the wintertime and in the South towns. So like in snow and everything like that, I haven't gotten stuck at all. Now, oddly enough, my Wrangler, which was a two-wheel drive Wrangler. Now I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking like, what in the world? There's no two-wheel drive Wranglers. Yeah, there actually was. That was actually my second time owning a two-wheel drive Wrangler. I had a 2007 for a brief period of time, and then I had this 2010. I don't know why they made two-wheel drive Wranglers that were just rear-wheel drive. Yeah, mine was completely rear-wheel drive, and using them both in snow, they both did fine. Especially with the stock tires, they did totally fine. Actually, to tell you the truth, my first Wrangler, if I have any clips of it or pictures of it, I will show you guys that too. But my first Wrangler that I had, that I bought, which I said on my channel before, I bought it from a dealership and it had too many problems, so the dealership, they did a buyback from me. But in my brief period of time owning that vehicle, like that one was lifted as well. That was lifted and that had bigger tires on it. But like my Wrangler that I had for a long time, for like over like a year and a half or 2 years, my 2010, driving that in snow with the stock tires, it did great. Just rear wheel drive, it did great. Like that thing just cut through snow like it was no one's business. With the with the bigger tires, it did well as well. But I think honestly the stock tires were like a little bit better inside snow. Either way though, both these vehicles, they did great in snow. I mean, honestly, but I feel like that's more of like your history or your experience driving in snow that's going to play a lot into it. But for me personally, both the vehicles, they did really well in snow, and I mean that's really cool. If you're looking to buy a Jeep for snow, just know typically they do very well, but that doesn't make you invincible. The nice thing is though, since if they are lifted and they're a little bit taller up, they can drive over snow, and it's harder to get stuck, as in like when the snow kind of compacts you in and stuff like that. You can drive typically over the snow, but just know it doesn't make you invincible. Now that's the other thing about driving a lifted Jeep you have to take into consideration. Your center of gravity is higher. Like I said, with my other Wrangler, it seemed to improve the ride quality and handling somewhat, but the negative thing is though, since the center of gravity is so much higher up, like it's up, like in here, this is definitely up, like, I don't know, 3 to 4 inches, like over stock. Like I'm literally, this Jeep is like taller than that Ram 1500 that's over there. That's our neighbor's. As you can see, that's our neighbor's Ram, and this is literally taller than that. So the one thing I did see, or I didn't notice when driving it inside the winter, is that it did fine, like just going over, like, like from a dead stop, it did completely fine. Like you can just, even though it doesn't have a ton of torque, you can just, it'll just crawl itself out of snow. And even the other Wrangler, it pretty much did the same thing. But if you're like on the highway or something like that, and you start to lose it, this thing can completely lose it. Like if you start to lose it, it's very hard to recover in this. Like I remember before, and I think I told the story on my channel, when I was coming to a stop, it just like the front end started to go. Like I just very gently tapped on my brakes coming to a stop. It was like a stoplight, cars in front of me. It was like a 2-lane, like cars coming this way, we're going this way. It was just like a, like there wasn't much of a shoulder. It's kind of on like a road where there's no like real shoulders on each side. It's kind of like you're jumping the curve to get off of the street. But there was cars in front of me. It was a red light. I was coming up. I just tapped on the brakes like very gently. I felt the front end like duck down and kind of start to slide. I let off of the actual brakes and like tried to just get myself straight as I possibly can, because I started to go fishtail just in the front, kind of, which is kind of strange. It was like I was understeering in the front, even though I was going straight. And then I got back on the brakes, not super hard again, and I had to like kind of like pump my brakes like gently to try to help me get straight and to slow down. For like a split second, I thought like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to stop. I'm gonna have to like jump off on the curve and like go off to the curve, because I couldn't jump in the other lane because there was cars coming this way and there were cars stopped in front of me. And this is just a bigger, heavier vehicle. I don't want to plow into someone, plow into the back of someone. If I could like go up on the curve, which is the nice thing, is like this car could go up on the curve, even though the curve was kind of high. I mean, it would have sucked. I probably would have did damage, but it would have been better than me plowing into someone like into the back of their car. So just know, like, yes, these cars, they do great from like a dead stop and stuff like that. It's harder to get them like, stopped. Like plenty of times, like with both vehicles, when we didn't plow or shovel our driveway and we had like a really big snow storm or something like that, we just drove straight out of it. Like it was no problem. But when you're up to speed and like driving, your center of gravity is higher. If you get stuck on ice or something like that, you can lose it like fast. So you have to be careful with that. But overall, I mean, besides for that though, honestly, it's pretty much the same thing as any other SUV. Like, I mean, the Wrangler obviously is much different just because it's like the only SUV that's, you can have a convertible and take the doors off, which is honestly Like, I love that Wrangler so much. I still think about that to this day. I definitely want to own another Wrangler again. Like, I really do. But like, but with this Grand Cherokee, I mean, for the most part, it's just like any other type of SUV. It's great for the dogs, great for like hauling stuff, and you know, just putting stuff in the back. You know, reason why people buy these things. The other thing I do want to mention is about reliability, which I know a lot of people do say Jeeps there are unreliable. in my experience, this one hasn't been the greatest, but this Jeep has had a harder life than probably most other Jeeps. So you know, I'm gonna give it some slack there. My other Jeep Wrangler that I had, actually the first one that I got from the dealership, and they had to do a buyback. I'm not going to hold that one against it either, because that one was modified as well. And that one had a harder life probably. My other Jeep that I had, the 2010, I had no problems with it, honestly, in my 2 years of ownership. That Jeep had like 130 something thousand miles, and this one has, I believe, has what, 116,000 miles. And as you could probably tell by my dashboard, there's a lot of things that are just lit up. It's lit up like a Christmas tree. So, I mean, it is what it is. I don't really know. Granted, though, one person can have a really bad experience with a brand, and another person can have a great experience with a brand. So I'm not going to say like, oh, all Jeeps are unreliable. It's just kind of what it is. These vehicles are old. Like even now, even my 2010 Jeep, think about it now, it would be 10 years old. This is 2005, so it's like 15 years old. So yeah, older vehicles, they have problems. That's kind of like what happens. But generally speaking, I mean, it's been okay. I mean, this Jeep hasn't really run great. But once again, it's had a harder life. So I did know that kind of going into it, so I'm not holding it against it. But yeah, so pretty much though, daily driving a Jeep, a lifted one, it's not that bad. Honestly, like, I love it. And the driving dynamics of just driving on the road is completely different than anything else. You know, I love the Jeep Wrangler lifestyle. You know, everyone waves to each other, and like taking the roof off and doors off. Like honestly, thinking back, that's like the most fun I've had with any other vehicle. The Wrangler, taking the doors and the roof off, because we did that a lot, and just drove it. Like I used to leave like the doors off for like days, and just doors and roof off just for days. I used to like park it in the garage when I didn't have the doors and roof off, and just like had so much fun. Like looking back, the Wrangler was truly, it was a blast to own, and owning this is different, but it's still very fun. And it's because it's a modified Jeep and it looks cool, so it's, you know, there's a different experience. But in both of the vehicles, like I would say, like they're both really cool, they're both really fun to own. And if you're thinking about doing it, I would say, heck, why not? Just know that you're gonna have to pay a little bit more for gas. They're not gonna be the fastest thing out there in the world. If you're looking at like the newer ones, like the newer WKs, the WK2s, I mean, that's a really nice platform. If you want to like build something off of that, if you have like the nice comfort or creature comforts and stuff like that, you can really get that set up pretty nice. And like the new JLs, or even like a newer JK Wrangler, like you can obviously you can like really make those things like really nice. But the new JLs, they are so nice. Like legitimately, when I was looking at them, like wow, these are like really nice. Or even getting like the Gladiator, the Jeep truck, that's pretty cool too. So if you're thinking about doing that, honestly, go ahead. Like it really is. It's a blast. But yeah, so like that, I'm gonna end the video here, guys. So let me know in the comment section below, what's your thoughts on daily driving a Jeep? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's cool? Do you think it's bad? Let me know in the comment section below. But like that, I'm gonna end the video here. So if you want, follow me on Instagram, OmegaGreed, the same name as the YouTube channel. Subscribe for more. Go to geeksforcars.com. You can shop my merch. And yeah, guys, I'll see you in the next video. See ya.